So I was hanging out on the beach the other day, and I was looking at some of the grass that had washed up on shore and realized that while I was familiar with this grass, I didn't really know too much about it. I wanted to know more, and here's what I found out. Also known as common gulfweed, narrowleaf gulfweed, or spiny gulfweed, sargassum is the grass that I was seeing. Now, there are two main varieties. There's Sargassum fluitans and Sargassum natans. I believe the variety we're looking at here is the natans variety because of that spine that you can see in the picture. Now, this is something that originates in the Sargasso Sea, which is known by oceanographers as a sea without a shore. It's defined by its boundary currents rather than any kind of landmass. In this case, we're talking about the Gulf Stream, the North Atlantic Current, the Canary Current, and the North Equatorial Current. And because of the way those currents operate, sargassum is very dynamic and can flow all throughout these areas, including the Sargasso Sea, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf of Mexico, and the Gulf Stream. A really unique feature of sargassum is that it has these tiny air sacs known as pneumatocysts that act as flotation devices to keep it from sinking. And this is a really unique adaptation that allows it to fulfill a particular niche at the top of the water column rather than being at the bottom where many other grasses dwell. Sargassum is technically a type of algae, even though people often refer to it as a type of grass or seaweed. Sargassum plays a really important role in the ecosystem, supporting species including the sargassum crab, the sargassum shrimp, the sargassum flatworm, the sargassum nudibranch, the sargassum anemone, and probably my favorite is the sargassum fish, which is just a really beautiful specimen. In fact, sargassum supports more than 100 different fish species, and fishermen know that a great place to cast your line is right near that floating sargassum at the top of the water column. Once the sargassum washes ashore, it dries out in the sun and turns from a golden brown to a darker brown, eventually becoming black and brittle when completely dry. The sargassum that's lower down on the beach often gets washed back into the tide, but higher up the beach, it provides a crucial role in the formation of the sand dunes. Sargassum anchors the sand dunes in place and helps stabilize them, and it also provides fertilizer for sand dune plants. In fact, the main source of nutrients for all beach plants is what's called wrack. Wrack is made up of sargassum and other plant debris and other debris that washes up on the beach. And again, it is so important to these beach plants because as it decays, it acts as a fertilizer for plants that are already growing on the beach and for the seeds that are in the rack as they get washed up on shore and then are growing in that decomposing material. In fact, you can even eat sargassum. It's a good source of carbohydrates, minerals, proteins, essential amino acids, beta carotene, and vitamins. Its high nitrogen content made it a really good fertilizer, so much so that it was being commercially harvested. Concerns about that commercial harvesting led NOAA to designate it as an essential fish habitat in the 1990s. So clearly, sargassum is really important to the ecosystem and supports all kinds of life. However, it can be a problem. Sargassum has been increasing recently. Deforestation and fertilizer use are believed to be the main factors driving its growth, but too much of this seaweed can smother corals, seagrasses, and often ends up in beaches, releasing gases that smell like rotten eggs. It can cover turtle nesting habitat and also entangle sea turtles and dolphins, preventing them from surfacing for air. You can see this beach here. This is in Belize, where sargassum is piled so high that there's no way the turtles can get to the beach to lay their eggs. And if there are already turtle eggs laid underneath the grass, it prevents the baby turtles from getting free and into the water. So overall, sargassum is probably more friend than foe. But just like most things in nature, it needs balance. And when it's out of balance, it can cause harm. So next time you're on the beach and you see some grass either in the water or washed up on shore, maybe you'll be able to identify it and know a little bit more about it. I want to give a quick shout out to Sam and Canon for hooking me up with this really nice microphone. It should come in handy in the coming videos, so stay tuned.